Maybe I'll say Swami found me in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Um, through my marriage, my husband introduced me to Swami. I first went to Puttaparthi in February of 2009. It was Shivratri. So we stayed up all night, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know that men and women have to be separate. I was a newly married, bride, and it was overwhelming, the crowd, but I also liked the discipline there, how everybody conducts themselves and how they talk to devotees. Um, so I was very confused. If people were like pushing me, I'm like, okay, if you want to go ahead, please go ahead. And I would like go back and back. But so I didn't get seating in Kulwant Hall. I was in Purna Chandra Auditorium. But when I saw Swami, I cried a lot. I didn't know why, but I just cried a lot. That was my first experience after seeing Swami. And it took a long time, is he God? Is he not God? This wavering mind. I used to go to all the bhajans, weekly devotional programs. I also used to be associated with a different organization, somewhat spiritual. But what I liked most about when I used to come here is like the discipline here. Everything started, ended on time. It didn't matter who you are, what you did for a living, what kind of wealth you had. But here nobody asked. They just were like, okay, just come. They'll talk to you as you are. That was, a very distinguishing thing about the devotees. And in 2011, when Swami left his physical form, it didn't make any difference to me and then in 2012, January, I got tired of myself in this wavering mind between God, not God. So that January, I made a pledge, like for my New Year resolution, one whole year, I will go to only Swami's organization. I'll participate in anything that comes in my way. And in California Region 7, we start with, Women's Day in February, and it keeps going, So every time they asked me for something, I said yes, 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 and I kept doing. And yeah, so because Swami left his physical form, when I went participating in all these events, just a sevadal or, coordinator, co-coordinator, anything like that, I was seeing Swami through his devotees' eyes. And this in this whole 1 year, there were two things that stood out to me. One is, uh, don't worry what others think of you, only worry what God thinks of you. I think that revelation that don't worry what others think of you, but only focus on um, doing what does God think of me? Does He approve of my actions, my conduct, my behavior? Like if He's watching my thoughts, that kind of gave some self transformation. And then it was like an aha moment. Yeah, this who can go that deep and refine you from inside? Because you can talk to others, you can project yourself any way you want, but this was very deep. Only God would know. Oh, and then the second one just struck on me. I used to, until I came to Swami, I used to ask God, like as a child, oh, I want to pass this exam. Heal my mother from she was very sick for some time. So I used to pray, heal my mother like that. But after that 1 year of experiment with just coming to Swami organization and not going to the other spiritual organization, I stopped asking God what I want. Instead, I started doing what God wants and what pleases God, which is, but being that sevadal and all. So those two aha moments were like, yeah, this is God. I feel like if you focus on this, then everything seems to take care of itself. I'll give you an example. The first time, when I had my first child, Swami said, Swami said so many things, but I came across this teaching of Swami that you have to, the mother should take care of the child and nourish the child and give all the love. So I quit my job to to raise the child, and it was pretty bold for those days. If you're in US and you have all the comforts and luxuries that you can demand, it was pretty bold, and nobody actually um, encouraged that or applauded that. Um, Including people who I normally, the satsang, and my parents, like nobody in my family, extended family, nobody approved of that. So that time my connection with Swami deepened because I just took that Swami's teaching and followed it. Yeah, and now looking back at it, I don't regret it. And people were telling me like, oh, how would you find a job? You quit and there are so many new graduates coming up, you're competing with more and more people. This is a bad choice. You should go back to work. But I didn't give up. I said, Swami, I'm going to follow whatever you said. Give me that implicit obedience. That was the only prayer. I used to go to Sai parenting circle, read Swami's books on parenting, and the only prayer that time young adult advisor said was pray for implicit obedience to Swami's teaching, because it's not easy to follow what Swami says. There are so many distractions in the outer world. So I would just say, give me the courage, the strength to follow your teaching just like that. So yeah. And then the second time, after going through all this, whatever I just described, when I had my second child, again, I was ready to resign. And my employer was like, no, we want to keep you on the payroll. You can stay as a consultant, work 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and that's all. Just be there. When we call you, just be there. So they just kept everything on record, and I just had to call like occasionally whenever they wanted. And kind of I was able to give whatever that, follow Swami's teaching that came my way. And I did not miss on my career and all. So yeah, if you follow his teaching, then everything will fall in place. Swami knows your efforts. He knows it. This is the best organization. Everything is there. Just come, be here, and pray for that implicit obedience to Swami's teaching, and your life will be transformed. I find most connection in the Sai spiritual education, which is the Bal Vikas of, what Swami founded in India. Previously, our region used to host a lot of guest speakers, events like this, retreats and conferences. Every time I heard a guest speaker, I would be so moved that I would take whatever that one thing they said and take it as a sadhana for the next few months. But after a few years, I found that I was, hopping from this sadhana to that sadhana to that sadhana. So if you put all my sadhanas on a board, they'll be all random, pin, pin, pin. So then until I took the SSC teacher training, it was as if, I was grazing everywhere, and Swami was like, no, I will tether you and you stay in this Sai spiritual education space, and that's your sadhana. And that's where I find most fulfillment. But yeah, all answers are here. Just come, stay in the satsang. I respect that community a lot. We learn a lot from each other, and pray for that implicit obedience to Swami's teachings. He'll hold you in his palms.